Hello, everybody, and welcome to Star Wars Geek Girl. I'm Zoe, and not as usual, I am not with Lizzy, because Lizzy is sick and lost her voice. So when you're podcasting, your voice is kind of important. So Lizzy is resting her voice, so she'll not be joining us today. So I'm here with my dad, Mike,
Hi, I'm
from
Mike.
the Hinton Star Wars family. And we're going to be talking about episode 5, the Christmas Eve episode of Skeleton Crew.
All right, sounds great.
Star Wars Geek Girls. They're geek girls that like Star Wars. And sometimes cry.
All right. So, first, I would like to start with what are your spoiler free thoughts of Skeleton Crew episode 5?
Spoiler free. I liked where it was going. I wish it was longer.
Longer. It was the longest one yet.
I know. I wish it was longer. That's
Yeah,
my spoiler free.
you're spoiler free. I really enjoyed this episode. And it had a crazy ending that it's shocked me, but I also felt like I should have seen it coming, and I kind of did see it coming, but it still shocked me. And I'm really excited to see, because we have 3 episodes left, and I'm really excited to see where things go from here. It's a big turning. I think this is a big turning point for the show, sort of like how episode 5 of The Acolyte was for that show.
Yeah.
So I'm interested to see how things go on and go forward.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one. Yeah. Can we? Well, I'm waiting till we can do spoilers.
You're just like Lizzy. You're so impatient.
Well, I figure if someone is watching this, they.
Well, I know, but what if we convince them to watch Skeleton Crew if they're not watching it already with our spoiler-free thoughts?
I guess. I just think if you're watching podcasts or listening to podcasts, you should probably just watch the show.
You never know. You never know.
I know.
All right, before we get into spoilers, make sure to check out Star Wars Geek Girl. This is a slightly outdated graphic. Make sure to check us out on StarWarsGeekGirl.com, on Twitter and Blue Sky now. I need to update the graphic. I've just been putting it aside because I don't have Canva Pro anymore.
You don't have what?
I don't have Canva Pro anymore because I stopped paying for it. But Twitter and Blue Sky at SW Geek Girl, Instagram at SW Geek Girl, and Facebook, Star Wars Geek Girl. Make sure to check out all of those things. If you want to find me personally, I am on Instagram and TikTok at Spectre_5 written out, not the number. And I'm on Twitter and Blue Sky as well at Azoika.
There you go. I don't have any graphics. You can
boom.
Huh?
Boom.
Wait a minute, you have graphics for me too?
I do. Look at it.
Hang on.
You see? No, I put it on for you already.
I know. I'm trying to.
For those just listening to the podcast, we're recording this live with a screen, which we don't normally do. So I'm taking advantage of all the graphics I made like months and months ago.
All right. So yeah, mine's at Hinton Star Wars Family everywhere. So and Inflatable Falcon, wherever you get your podcasts. And we normally record live on Wednesday nights, but
yeah.
So that's where you can find me.
If you want to find the Rogue Rebels, which is where Lizzy is found as well, you can go to theroguerebels.com. Sal writes stuff sometimes. Instagram and TikTok at the Rogue Rebels. Twitch at Rogue Rebels. Sometimes Sal streams Star Wars Outlaws, and it's pretty fun. Then the Rogue Rebels on Facebook, not the L. That was a typo. And then Twitter, and I think they're on Blue Sky as well, at Rogue Rebels Fam. And make sure to check out their podcast wherever you're listening to the Star Wars Geek Girl podcast. And then Lizzy's TikTok is at Rogue Rebel Sabine. Sabine, not spelled normally, spelled Sabean. And she posts little animations and drawings, and she plays games and posts stuff from her streams on there.
Nice. And you do a much better job of running the board than I do when it comes
to Well, I don't have as many. You have a lot of graphics. I don't have as many graphics as you do.
Okay. All right.
So make sure to check out all of those things. You can also go to theneilnation.com for all of your Neil desires, as well as if you go to starwarsgeek.com, there's lots of book reviews and fun writings and stuff. I took this Friday off of posting something because of Christmas, and I just wanted to relax on Christmas instead of writing. But I put stuff on there. But we're only a couple days left of 2024, which is kind of crazy to think about. So please vote in our poll for what your favorite Star Wars of 2024 was, so we can see. I went back and looked at my poll from last year of what we were most excited for in 2024.
Right.
Although we didn't know Skeleton Crew was coming out in 2024 when I made that poll, so it wasn't on there.
True.
There's a few things that weren't on there, like Outlaws. I think we didn't know was coming out in 2024 either when I made it. But anyway, make sure to check out all of those very, very cool things. Yeah, that's what I got right now.
Very good.
Okay, now I can talk about Skeleton Crew. Spoilers.
Spoiler. So, okay, do you guys normally just go in order, or you just kind of go?
We kind of all over the place, just kind of a natural conversation about the episode. I guess we can start with the spa. So based off the last episode, we remember SM-33. He went crazy, but they figured out, well, if we can somehow get him to not kill us, then we can use his memory banks to figure out where Aden is. Right?
Right.
And so they tie SM-33 up at the start, and he's tied down with these ropes on the table, and they turn him on, but he doesn't kill them. He's like, oh, I'm sorry about that. That was the old captain's orders. And they're like, oh, can you take us to Aden? He goes, well, I can't take you to Aden, but if we go to our old pirate lair, of course they have a pirate lair in this planet, I forget what the planet was called, but like in these mountains, this hidden pirate lair of brutality and blah, 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 then I can find the coordinates there and take you there. And so the kid's like, okay, let's do that. And SM-33 goes, perfect. And he just stands up and breaks all the ropes.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I knew that was funny. I knew that was going to happen. Yeah. Well, and then when they got there, that was pretty good too.
Yeah, it was turned into a spa, and SM-33 was not pleased. It was a fancy spa, and it must have been a very, I guess I'm stereotyping here a little bit. But it must have been a very expensive spa because we had huts there. We know huts are usually pretty well to do with the Hutt clan. They also had Muns there, which this is where I'm really stereotyping, but every Mun that we've seen in Star Wars is either part of the banking clan or Darth Plagueis.
That's true.
So they, I think they even mentioned the banking clan too. So like they might probably. So this is a very expensive spa with like. They have like mud baths and all sorts of fancy stuff.
Yeah, you can't.
And SM-33 was upset.
Now I can't put the chat up for Instagram for some reason, but we're recording live for Star Wars Geek Girl. This isn't my podcast, so. But one of your West Coast Mandos pasta night.
Oh yeah, pasta.
Says born. Can't say I remember no at Atlantis, which I think is funny. So I can't now you can see the TikTok chat.
Oh, I'm not on. I'm not on the TikTok. I can pull up TikTok.
You can pull it on your phone.
I can, but I don't have it here.
I can't pull it up on my phone because it's in my account.
Okay.
So
well, I can.
I know normally you don't have all this on, but I figure
I know normally I'm not live. I'm learning.
Right. But I liked when when he give them all the money, to just get past them, and the kids weren't listening at all. They were just jumping around,
jumping on the bed.
Which I think we saw that in one of the previews.
Probably. Also, it's only adults allowed on this ship because when they get pulled into like hailed by two of the spa ships, and the spa ships hear the kids in the background because Jazz trying to talk to them. The kids are all arguing in the background,
right?
And then they're like, They're like, oh, the kids, they're like, oh, like no kids are allowed. We hear kids, no kids are allowed. And so they pretend they dress the kids up as the ancient elders. They tell them they're ancient elders, and the elders don't speak basic, so Jod's the only one that can talk to the spot.
Yeah,
people.
yeah. Well, and then he ran into that girl that knew him before.
That bounty hunter, yeah, who was played by the woman who voices Brave. Not Brave, voices Merida in Brave.
Yeah.
Which is pretty cool. That's our third Disney princess in Star Wars.
Right.
Because we have Fennec, who's also Mulan.
Oh, right.
Ming-Na Wen. And then I guess she was Star Wars first, but Rose Tico, Kelly Marie Tran, played Raya in Raya and the Last Dragon.
There we go.
This is our third Disney princess in Star Wars.
Yeah. So that was kind of cool. And then they were when they split up, which I thought was pretty funny, but then they found the acid tank.
Yeah. Well, so the kids, they all split up to like look around the spa, which was funny.
Yeah.
But then we also got a little bit because KB was really nervous about like some of the steam and some of the places.
Yeah.
And so Fern said it was like maybe the steam would rust her like cybernetics.
Yeah.
But I also wonder if that had anything to do, because remember her mom's mentioned that she has medical issues.
Yeah.
When the parents were looking for her. So I wonder if that had anything to do with that, if that's going to come up more.
That was weird.
But we also did cut back to the parents this episode.
Yeah.
Too, because we learn that Wim's dad and Neil's mom are working together on something. And so Wim is at his little cubicle job, and Neil's mom brings him some device that she's supposed to plug into the.
And then Fern's mom was in on it too.
Well, only at the end, because Wim's dad gets caught by one of the supervisor droids. And he's just like, he's so much like Wim. You see where Wim gets it, because he was so terrible at trying to hide that thing. But he gets caught, so they bring him to Fern's mom, who's kind of like the supervisor. Or she's not, so there's the supervisor, who's like the boss of this planet, who we haven't seen.
Right.
And Fern's mom is just like his direct report, Wim's dad's direct report. And so he gets caught and brought to her office, and she's like, what are you doing? We're all going to get in trouble. The supervisor's going to handle this. And Wim's dad's like, no, he's not.
And they're just trying to send a message out.
Yeah, they're not even trying to leave because they don't have a ship.
Yeah.
They're just trying to send a message to help, tell the kids where to go, help the kids find home.
Yeah.
But the problem is, like, the rest of the planet is scared. Like, if you send a message out, who's going to respond to it,
Yeah. Well, and I wonder if they, like, when they release the message, then it kind of gives away where their planet is, too.
Yeah.
So
that's that side of it. But yeah, and then the kids find, it was like Cathalop or something. The big like tentacle guy.
Oh yeah. That guy was pretty. I forgot all about him. Yeah, that guy was cool. Because at first I was thinking that was like a creature like from Solo.
Oh, like that's what I thought too. It'd be like the Borgullet.
Yeah.
Borgullet always.
Or not? No. The crime boss.
Oh no! The white worms. Yeah.
Yeah. I thought it was going to be something like that.
Yeah.
But that was cool.
Yeah, he was, and that was funny because he it was like a classic fantasy thing where you think he's like this big scary monster, and the kids are gonna have to like fight him or something, or sneak by him, or he's gonna want something from him. But he just the kids tell him a story about their adventure.
Yeah.
And that's what he grants them passage and lets them through. But while this is happening, the woman who ran into Jod, who kind of really rattled him.
Yeah.
She called in the bounty for the pirates.
Yeah.
For Brutus and his pirates. So Brutus and all the gang, they all show up to the spa, and it was like where the kids and Jod, when the spa ships flew up to them, they tried to go undercover. The pirates just shot them all down.
Yeah. Well, and then the kids went through the tunnel with the Indiana Jones type traps.
Yeah.
Like the decapitating thing, and then it showed the pirates later coming with the anti-grav thing that like stuck the guy on the ceiling.
Mm-hmm.
And
they find the acid trap.
Yeah.
Where they have to sacrifice something. Is what the KV reads, and they all think you have to sacrifice a life.
Right.
But Jod's the one's like, no. For pirates, life isn't the most precious thing. It's money. And so they throw one of the Old Republic credits in.
Yeah.
Which is like,
They're
I think
gonna
it's their
run out of
last
those
one. Because he used a bunch to pay off the like receptionist
Yeah.
to not get reported. We also got another name for Jod. Because that bounty hunter lady called him Jod Zank or something. It's another name. I think he might have more than Ezra now.
Well, yeah, and then they go through the acid thing and go to the big treasure room, which I thought was pretty cool.
Yeah, the treasure room was also trapped.
Yeah,
because there was that stool. Because Neil's gonna lean over and get something on a table, and he leaned on a stool, and the stool dropped the floor down. But they go through. Neil figures out that because there's all this food on one table, and Neil realizes that one the roast and the food is the only thing that isn't moldy. All the other food is moldy except for that roast. And so that roast turns out to be like a hidden compartment where they have the port, so that SM-33 can plug in.
Yeah.
And get the data and find the coordinates to Atten.
Yeah. And then
we also saw a hologram of SM-33's old captain, but they didn't show the face.
Yeah.
Which we thought was interesting.
Yeah. Well, that's what I wonder if we've already seen him.
Yeah. He could just be some random captain, but he could be.
What if it could be, yeah.
It could be someone.
Yeah, and then what's his name challenges Fern to the.
Well, this was the big turnaround because Jod so far, like he's definitely not the most trustworthy kind of guy.
Yeah.
But he's also been, he's like in the last episode, like the episode before this, he was really like sweet to the kids. He went back and rescued them. Seemed like he's really nice. But this is when he really just turns around and he challenges Fern to a fight to the death, which SM-33 has to go by because it's pirate code.
Yeah.
And he doesn't really want to fight Fern. Like he's like, just forfeit so I can be captain. Poor Wim tries to stand up to him. He finds a lightsaber.
Always chops his. Yeah.
And he turns it on, and it's upside down.
Yeah.
Poor Wim.
Poor Wim. He wanted to be a Jedi, and he.
Well,
yeah. So. Yeah, that was, and then he. Oh no, he first fills the acid thing back up too.
Yeah, that's right. He fills the acid back up with all the other pirates in it. So we don't know which pirates were in there.
You think Urkel got
acid? I think Urkel was in the front. Urkel might have gotten.
He might have got acid.
He was in front. I'm sure Brutus is fine. I don't think
Brutus is fine, but
But
that might be the end of Urkel.
In front. Maybe, who knows?
But I guess there's worse ways to go.
Not many.
Not many.
And they're all pirates. They're all pushing each other back down in, trying to get out.
Yeah, they were all trying to get back. Well, they were all probably trying to get in first to get the treasure.
Mm-hmm. Well, because they were cutting down the door. Like they were down there.
Yeah.
Trying to cut down the door.
So, and then the kids escaped through one of the traps.
Yeah, so the cliffhanger is that the kids use that stool trap that Neil had found. I think it was Neil actually is the one that figured out to hit it, and they go down to who knows where. And then Jod, he was gonna leave with SM-33, and he actually grabbed the lightsaber too that Wim had. He used to force pull it. But
I still don't think that's force pulling though.
I don't know. He's making things float and stuff. Like when he was talking to Wim.
But it's always been something metal.
That's true. I don't know. But yeah, anyway, the kids go down, and then so Jod said he was going to have SM-33 tie the kids up and make them prisoner.
Yeah.
They were going to go back to the ship, and that's after that is when the kids escaped. So we're not sure if Jod's going to go back for him or not. I think.
Well, right. Or who's going to get to the ship first?
Right. Well, yeah, that too. But I don't know. I think we might see. I'm still holding out hope for Jod. I don't know. I think he might have a change of heart and come back to the kids.
Oh, I think he'll have a change of heart, but I wonder what's going to cause
But
that.
this is a pretty brutal betrayal. I thought because I think it's on my bingo card for Skeleton Crew
Yeah.
that Jod's gonna betray the kids and then change his mind and go back for them.
Yeah,
But this is not. This is a bit more of a brutal betrayal than I thought it was just going to be like the pirates offer him a bunch of money. He takes the money, but then turns sort of like Mando in season 1, where he takes the money, then turns around, and he changes his mind.
I wonder if maybe Fur or KB is going to be like life threatening. You know what I mean? Because like you brought that up, like maybe that's what's going to make him come back.
I also think because I think this episode, because we didn't really talk about it, but there's a scene early in the episode where Wim he gets upset because they're trying to get home, and so he kind of runs off and he's sitting there crying, and Jod follows him, which again he didn't have to do. Like I don't think Jod's all bad, but he follows him and he sits down and he tries to comfort him. He doesn't do a good job at it,
right?
But what he's saying, it's interesting because he's like kind of on the surface level saying Jedi stuff, but not really getting what it means. Like when people like quote like the Bible with fully not understanding what it actually
well, that's what
means,
I'm saying.
right?
Like that's why I don't think he's
and that's
a Jedi.
Kind of what he's doing. Well, I wonder if he was a Jedi, like a youngling or a Padawan.
Yeah, maybe.
Order 66 happened, and while most of the Jedi we've seen like Kanan or Cal or Ahsoka, they went to the rebellion. Jod found pirates.
Maybe
instead.
Yeah.
And that's why he's not using his real name, because he was like Kanan. He couldn't use his real name.
That's true.
Because he's in all the logs as a Jedi with the Empire. So that's why he has all these different names. And that's why you can use the Force. And that's why, because he says, the two things he says were, one, he said, he was talking about attachments, because Wim was scared. He wanted this adventure, but now he's out here and it's too scary and everyone's too mean. He just wants to go home. And Jod's like, all that stuff, that's attachments. You just forget it. And that sounds kind of like what a Jedi would say, but that's not really what the Jedi mean when they're talking about attachments, right? They're talking about when attachments make you selfish and hurt others. That's what they're talking about. But he's just like, if it makes you sad, don't worry about it. Like, that's not really what the Jedi are talking about. But on the surface level, it sounds like what someone who maybe just remembers the words they heard when they were like 8, and they just remember that, but they never had the chance to really learn and interpret it and figure out what it actually means. And the other thing he says is your focus determines your reality.
Yeah.
Which is what Qui-Gon said in The Phantom Menace to Anakin. And so, but when Qui-Gon said it, he meant like you can't change everything. You can't do everything. You need to focus on what it is, what's in front of you. And that becomes what's important. That becomes what matters. That's what you can change. You could also interpret Qui-Gon as saying, like, when you get too focused on something, then you lose sight of everything else. And you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But when Jod says it, he's like, just think about money. Then all you need is money. You're not going to worry about anything else, which isn't.
Well, I wonder if Jod was a little kid that maybe found or was helping hide a Jedi and just got trained. Because it just seems like he just has that one trick. Like I still wonder if he's like more Jedi adjacent. Like
I don't know. I think he might have been a youngling or a Padawan. The Order 66 happened. So that's why I wonder he comes back for the kids. Because I think one line I always come back to when I think of the Jedi is from Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Yeah.
The Grand Inquisitor says, the Jedi code is like an itch. They cannot help it. They can't help their compassion. And so I wonder if we're going to see that with Jod.
No, maybe.
If we're going to see him try to resist, but ultimately it comes back to like how he was raised, and he can't help do the right thing. He can't help but help. He can't help but help. He can't help having that compassion for these kids.
Yeah, maybe.
So I wonder if we could come back to that too.
And then Pasta Night reminded me that SM-33 had a restraining bolt.
He did SM-33 on a restraining belt, which was very funny because he wanted to hit everybody.
Yeah, that was pretty good.
But I just think of like in the very first scene of the show with Captain Silvo. I just think about like because he was a pirate, and John's definitely done some bad stuff as Captain Silvo, but he like there was that first wave of pirates that came in shooting everybody.
Yeah.
And then he came in after everyone and just shot at him.
Yeah, but he did throw a guy out the airlock.
He did throw a guy out the airlock.
That's pretty
bad.
Or maybe that pirate wasn't him. Maybe that pirate was like his brother or something. Maybe they'll pull.
I don't know. He responded to Captain Silvo, to that one
That's
guy
true.
in episode 3.
That's true. I don't know. Well, that was good. Well, also, did we get a timeline when that first pirate battle happened? Was that like right then and there, or was that? I guess it was New Republic.
I don't think they said. I think it's kind of implied it was pretty recent.
Yeah, because it was New Republic.
Yeah, it was New Republic, but then also in episode 3, when Jod is going back for SM-33.
Oh,
remember,
right.
That old guy is like, "Oh, Brutus let you out already."
Yeah,
so he could have been actually in there for that long.
Okay,
you know.
Yeah, and he killed that guy too. So.
He did.
His Jedi stuff doesn't.
Well, that's
what if he was an Inquisitor?
I don't know if he's.
Because what happened to the Inquisitors when the Empire fell?
Well, the Inquisitors were all long dead. They were all dead before New Hope.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
Yeah,
I knew there's still some floating around.
No, they all died. They all died by New Hope because Vader got sick of them. Well, a bunch of them got killed by Jedi, like Ahsoka, Kanan, Ezra, Maul killed a bunch of them, and then Vader was like, "See, these guys don't work."
Well, and then we saw a hut, which was that one of the twins?
I don't think it was one of the twins because I remember the twins having more head flat shapes, and this hut was a bit pointier. Could have been Stinky, because we know Stinky is going to turn up in Mandalorian and Grogu.
And then we had John Rodriguez as a Mon Cal.
John Rodriguez as a Mon Calamari on Atten.
You'll have to get him on the show now.
Yeah.
Might not
Although, what's really interesting is because we have 3 episodes left, and Jod has the coordinates to Atten. They have them. So he could go to Atten as soon as next episode.
Yeah.
So the question really is he going to go without the kids, and the kids are going to have to find their own way home? Is he going to go back and get the kids, and now he's going to, because the kids already they were just starting to trust him. They didn't trust him at all when they first kind of met him, except for Wynn, who thought he was a Jedi. And now they definitely aren't going to trust him again. So it'll be interesting to see where that relationship goes from here. And, because Jod can go to Atten without them.
Right.
But the kids, at this point, even if they got another ship, which they didn't really know how to fly, but if they don't have the coordinates to Atten. So
right.
Because he took them. So they wouldn't really be able to.
Well, and Pasta Merc does not think it was the twins or Rod of the Hutt. So because we wouldn't get credit of who's playing the Hutt in this because they didn't.
Well, I don't think that Hutt talked or anything. Yeah,
right. That's what I mean. There was no talk. Though the waiter didn't have a good time with him.
No, that little waiter. That waiter was on a Canto Bite. That same species. He's first on Canto Bite.
I also remember at the beginning, Fern's mom had complete control of the security guards. So that shows me that the security guards.
She was doing the same thing as Fern.
Right, that's what I mean. So it's not like the people are like trapped by the security guards. It does seem like.
Does she have control over the security guards, or does she think she has control over the security guards?
Well, that's true too.
Does it just look like that?
It could just be like Alexa's just recording all of what you're talking about.
So I'm curious about who this supervisor is that we haven't really seen or heard about him a ton. I haven't seen them or know anything about them.
I think Neil's dad is at a different level too.
We've seen a little bit of Neil's dad, but Neil's mom's doing all the work.
Right, but I'm saying with Neil's dad, I wonder if he's more on the side of the higher ups.
Yeah, maybe.
He's in the inner circle.
Yeah. So it'll be curious to see where things go from here. Also, we do learn what the treasure of At Aten is, which is that At Aten is the last Old Republic mint.
Right.
Where they're making all those credits.
Right.
That the kids have.
But they still have to have all the gold or whatever they're made of there.
Yeah. So I mean, I wonder if they can mine the gold from the planet, or if they just have a ton of it and haven't run out.
Yeah, they probably just have a ton of it. It doesn't look like a mining. Every mining planet we've seen in Star Wars doesn't look too well.
That's true.
We've seen the Kessel and the one from Andor. So.
I mean, Kessel's mostly forests. It's just the couple of mines they have that are all janky.
Oh, okay.
Because remember in Clone Wars, they fly over forests to get to Pikes. But I'm really excited. This is a big turning point in the show. I'm really curious. I'm still holding out hope for Jod. I still think he can do the right thing in the end.
Oh, I'm sure he has to. I mean, or the cliffhanger. Well, they can't have a cliffhanger for the season because, I mean, I think they have to button this one up, even if they're going to do a second season, just because of the kids being so old.
Yeah.
Now, are we live on TikTok? Any comments on TikTok we need to address?
CT6107 said hello there. Hello there.
Okay.
CT6107.
Kenobi, General Kenobi.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have one. I think we just have Pasta on watching on Instagram because it doesn't pick up on here. But again, we're just doing this. Normally, you don't do a live show anyway, so.
Yeah. Trying to think. It was a really good episode. It was the longest yet. And definitely a lot happened. But I'm so excited for the next one to see where we go from here.
Is that New Year's Eve?
Here. Yeah, next one's New Year's Eve. So they had a Christmas Eve and a New Year's Eve episode.
Yeah.
And there's one more episode after that, and then for the finale, I'll be home to watch it with you.
Then we watch it together.
Yeah. What else? And it'll be because for me it comes out at 6:00 right now on Wednesdays, but when I'm home it'll be at 9:00.
Right.
So I'll have to feel like I'm waiting longer than normal.
Right. Well, you'll probably still be on California time, so it'll feel like 6:00.
Maybe. What else? I'm trying to think what else I have to say about the episode.
That's it.
Yeah, I think so. Well, thank you so much, everybody, for tuning in.
Yeah, and I appreciate you calling me on.
Yeah, it was really fun. I enjoyed this episode a lot. I feel like it put a lot forward for me. I feel like I think I said this after maybe episode 3 or 4 that I think Jod might be a Jedi, either youngling or Padawan.
I'm still holding out no Jedi.
I don't know. I feel like he can at least use the Force.
I think he's magnets and tricks.
I don't know. Because
have we ever seen him with his glove off?
If he used a magnet in that treasure room, he can't control it. So it's
what if it is? If it's Star Wars. What if it's a controlled magnet?
Yeah.
Have we seen him with his gloves off yet?
I don't think so. Maybe
what if he has like a robotic arm that sucks things like a suction cup, invisible suction cup?
I don't know. I think he might have been a youngling or Padawan who got thrown in Order 66 and turned to piracy instead of rebellion, like most Jedi.
I think he was raised by a hidden Jedi.
Maybe, but
or Qui-Gon. He's Qui-Gon and Shmi's kid.
Oh god. Oh man. But I'm really excited for the next one. Like I said, I think this is a really big turning point for the show. And I'm excited to see where things go from here. I'm really rooting for those kids. I want to figure out a bit more about what's going on over that Aten and the supervisor. and how it's all going to end up. And remember to go to theneonation.com.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for everybody who's tuned in live, and if you're listening later, make sure to check out StarWarsGeekGirl.com. We got writing there. You can actually listen to the podcast on StarWarsGeekGirl.com/podcast if you ever want to do that. And vote in our poll for what Star Wars you enjoy the most from 2024. Or if you're listening to this after the new year, I'll have a poll for what Star Wars you're most looking forward to in 2025. Which right now not confirmed, but there's a lot coming out in 2025. I'm sure more will pop up along the way. Like I said, we didn't even know about like Outlaws this time last year. Make sure to do all that stuff and check out theneonation.com for all your Neil Nation needs. We're on Twitter and Blue Sky at SW Geek Girl, and on Instagram at SW Geek Girl, and Facebook at Star Wars Geek Girl. If you're just looking for me personally, I am on Instagram and TikTok at Spectre_5, and I'm on Twitter and Blue Sky at Zoika. If you want to find the Rogue Rebels, where Lizzy often hangs out, go to theroguerebels.com or Instagram and TikTok at the Rogue Rebels, Twitch the Rogue Rebels, Facebook the Rogue Rebels, and Twitter at Rogue Rebels Fan. And Lizzy fam, not fan. And then Lizzy is on TikTok at Rogue Rebel Sabine. Sabine spelled Sabean.
And you can find me at Hidden Star Wars Family on Instagram, TikTok, or YouTube. Mike Hinton on Facebook. And please like and subscribe, Star Wars Geek Girl, especially on Spotify. It helps the numbers. This is my podcast pitch end of the year. It doesn't cost anything to like and subscribe, but it helps podcasters out a lot. And when we moved over from SoundCloud, Spotify is a much better platform, but we lost a lot of our support when we moved over from SoundCloud. So if you can do that, even if you don't want to listen to it all the time, just like and subscribe in that. So
and make sure to tune in on Wednesday nights to the Inflatable Falcon podcast.
Oh yeah, Inflatable Falcon. And then Pasta says, I hope everyone had a Cappy Chrysler.
Yes, it's a Merry Christmas, but Cappy for Capybara and Chrysler for Christmas is a reference to a vine.
Oh, okay. Well, there we go. See, I'm old and I have no clue what that means.
Okay. So. Well, thank you so much for everyone who tuned in live and for everyone listening later. I was Zoe.
And I was Mike.
Thank you so much.
Lizzy, I hope you feel better.
Yes, I hope Lizzy feels better. We'll be back to talk about, we'll talk a little bit about episode 5 again when she's feeling better, as well as episode 6 too. But thank you so much to everybody who listened and live or later. And I said, I was Zoe. I already said that.
And I was Mike.
May the force be with you, and goodbye.
Goodbye.
Star Wars Geek Girls. They're geek girls that like Star Wars. And sometimes cry.